So like if you were 22 again and you were like starting up a business, what advice would you give?
At 22, I was in a whole different world. I was joining the military because I lost a full ride scholarship for baseball.
I want to know how you actually start up your social media.
I'd probably have a lot more followers if I sold my soul to the devil. I think you need to lean into you as the person, right? You show your personality, show your love for it and why.
One of the things that women don't understand that men really don't have anyone. We're alone. Women talk bad about us. We can't go to our own brothers because we out here shooting and killing each other, and it's always a problem.
The lack of a male figure in men's life has been a big struggle. A lot of the men in my men's group can almost contribute a lot of their struggle because they didn't have a father figure guiding them.
Nowadays, in this culture, everyone is dressed the same, but you don't know which one has which motive. It's hard to it's like a whole bunch of lions and they all walking towards you. You just don't know which one is striped.
Welcome to the VinnyRoc podcast.
I took the blows and did it my way.
It's time. The VinnyRoc podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, Tyler. How you doing?
Hey, man. I'm feeling unstoppable, man. How you doing?
That's good. Well, let me just fix my microphone. But for the audience, my daughter said that she had a friend that was interested in being on the podcast. And so here we are. I have no clue what we're going to be talking about, but I open this platform up to you to ask whatever you want. And I'm excited for wherever the conversation goes. You want to tell me a little bit about yourself right now?
So my name is Tyler Hampton, originally from Chicago. Went to a boarding school in Wisconsin called Wayland Academy. Now I'm currently in Ohio. I go to Ohio Dominican University. I played football there for 2 years, nose guard my freshman year, center my second year. Then I stopped playing for reasons, and then now I'm like an entrepreneur. So, yeah.
What kind of business?
Insurance and financial advising.
Yeah, cool. What got you into that?
So, basically, I always knew, so I'm a very logical guy. So I basically just sat down one day, and I always wanted to work for myself. So, excuse me. So I sat down one day and I just thought about, I made a list of everything that people absolutely need in the world. And that was food, water, a place to stay, insurance, and some other things.
Why insurance?
Why insurance? Because I feel like a lot of people are ignorant to the fact that a lot of people actually need insurance, how important insurance is in a day-to-day life.
Okay. Why'd you stop playing football?
I stopped playing football because first one of my coaches got fired. You know what I'm saying? He was like me personally, I thought he was the rock of the team. You know, he's the one that got us juiced up, and he was one of those hard asses. Wait, can I curse on here?
You're good. Yeah.
He was one of those hard asses, but you knew everything he had behind him was with love. You know what I'm saying? So after he left, I just kind of saw the team going down and just got out of there. Plus, I wanted to focus on money too.
Okay. Well, I've owned a lot of businesses. A lot of my businesses has either been successful or failed, and I've gotten rid of a lot of things, and I kind of have a more serious focus now. But tell me about your mom and dad.
My mom is an entrepreneur. She is in child services. So what she do is she's a child care provider. She just watches kids. And my dad, he used to work for CTAs. I think something's wrong.
It's okay.
It says reconnecting. My dad, he used to drive the bus for CTA, Chicago Transit Authority. And he was a big lifter. So he would take a lot of supplements and stuff like that. And he got diagnosed with this condition called GBS, where it started deteriorating his muscles. So like he really couldn't walk, so he retired from that. But now he's recovering right now, so he's doing better.
Cool. Awesome.
Mm.
So what questions do you have for me?
So if you were 22 again, I'm 22 right now, obviously, look young, but you know what I'm saying, you're not 22. I see the grays in your beard. So like if you were 22 again and you were like starting up a business, what advice would you give?
22. So when I was 22, I started a business when I was 18, and I didn't know what I was doing. I started a business back when, like, before social media had anything, before all that, and so it was even harder because we used to sell T-shirts, and there was no way of sustaining that. To be honest, we didn't make the money to sustain that. But at 22, I was in a whole different world. I was joining the military because I lost a full ride scholarship for baseball, and Bell was already born when I was 20 years old, 21 years old, something like that. So very different mindset, right? I'll tell you from my first business what I learned, and when I made a lot of money, what surprised me later was taxes. I didn't expect the taxes to be like, I just didn't think about it. And so the taxes got away from me in the sense of, like, I made 100,000 and I spent 100,000, but I never paid taxes until a tax lady came and said, "Hey, you owe this much." I was like, "Damn, that's fucking crazy." And so I didn't know all the things that you could do as a business owner to help you offset your taxes by things like, anything you buy for the business is a tax write-off. So whether it be an office space, whether it be a vehicle, whatnot. So I've had to learn throughout the years to do that, to offset my taxes, then as well as create another account that's just specific to taxes. So if I get in a big check of like 30K, put 30% of that away just for taxes and don't even look at it. And so that helped me kind of get ahead of the tax game that for a long time I couldn't figure out. And not that I couldn't figure out, but I was just so frustrated with the world of taxes that's probably the one thing that hurt me the most.
Taxes. All right.
Yeah. Have you had to do your taxes yet?
Not yet. But I'm like, so in college I'm studying like business management, and I study insurance risk management minor. So I'm already knowing. I bought an iPad, writing it off, business cards, everything I got, writing it off. Yeah. And
then when you start making money in your insurance, make sure that you're putting every check you're getting, you're putting a little bit away just for taxes. You have that organized in your head how you plan to do that. You can even pay it quarterly to taxes directly, or you can just wait to the end of the year. But you'll miss that. Like, being young, you're going to be like, "Man, I got a $5,000 check. What's up?" You know what I mean? And then you spend your baby bills, and then you go buy some shoes, whatever. And at the end of the day, you're going to be like, "Well, I spent all that. Wait for the next check." And you keep doing that. Then at the end of the year, you're going to be like, "Shit, I didn't think about the taxes." And so that was probably the big hardest thing for me to learn.
So mine, I shouldn't have said insurance. Mine, so the whole goal in my business is to make sure everyone is, like, would you agree that in school, like, they don't teach you how to manage money?
Absolutely. They don't.
Yeah. So my business isn't really like, we will protect them with insurance after we get them, while we're getting them able to be financially independent. So we'll help them out with, right now I'm pursuing my securities license, my Series 6 and my Series 63. That's so I can be able to, like, properly invest and, like, manage people money. So I'm still getting that, but, like, I'm licensed as an insurance agent. So
who taught you financial literacy?
Myself.
And your parents did you?
Well, my parents taught me too, yeah, but, like, I pretty much taught myself. I pretty much was independent from a young age. I was when did I go to boarding school? I went to boarding school when I was 14. I moved to a whole different state. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn how to budget, basically clean, manage my money. I had to learn how to do all of that for myself. So I mean, like, being away from mom and dad sucked, but it really made me grow up fast, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked the question, because a lot of people don't learn financial literacy from their parents, and not that it's just something that's not usually talked about. And even in my upbringing when I was younger, my parents who made good money, I never asked them about how do I save money, where do I invest, or anything like that. And that's something that I'm like probably a late bloomer to that I've started to learn how to do that myself. And Belle was talking to me the other day about she's starting to invest. I'm like, oof, I don't know nothing about that. I have a couple of friends that do it. So it's really cool that you're starting so young and learning that, and hopefully that you teach your kids that as well.
Heck yeah, man. Right now, my what I want to do is I want to, of course, like get my license. I should get my license in the next 2-3 weeks, taking the test the next 2-3 weeks. But I just want to go back to like my communities and like people that like, you know what I'm saying, that is less fortunate and like
Absolutely
haven't had the opportunity to actually see things, you know what I'm saying, and properly show them how to manage their money. And if I could teach them how to manage their money, and then they go manage other people's money, or even come work with me and help a whole lot of people. I just really want to just make an impact. That's really what I want to do. I just want to, because growing up in Chicago, it's bad. Like, you know, when they say like friends are either dead or in jail, yeah, I'm the one that made it out. So like just growing up, seeing all of that stuff and all the messed up stuff I seen, I knew I just had to go out, you know, get myself right. I got to help myself first, because if I can't help someone else if I can't help myself, and I can't take care of myself. So I just knew I had to do that. So that brings me in the question. I want to know how you actually, how did you start up your social media? Bill showed me your Instagram. You got some, how many followers do you have? You got some followers on there, man.
Yeah, I think I have like 196,000 followers, something like that.
So how did you grow that base?
I've been very consistent about putting content on there, but like let me preface this by saying I'd probably have a lot more followers if I sold my soul to the devil. when I say that, if I wanted to post, you know, sexually explicit stuff or whatever, I'd probably have triple, if not more. I just chose to be very adamant about how I want to use my social media. I've been doing it since, I've been building that since 2013. So many years of just consistently posting. I'm very intentional about how I post. And when I say that is, as much as I post the entertainment side of my life, the podcast I do, I also post my family. And so it's something that some social media like managers would recommend not to do for someone in my position. They say it should be about your entertainment. It should be about your acting. It should be about, and I don't play by those rules. I don't really give a shit about notoriety and fame. And so I think a lot of people do clout chasing. And when you start doing clout chasing, you lose, your true identity. And so I've been very adamant about how I build it. And so all I do, man, is people now follow me because, either I'm a veteran, first responder, family man, or someone just all around guy that they just kind of relate to. And so that's how the following is built. I'm very active in continuing to grow as a person. And so things like getting my bachelor's degree a couple of years ago, people were really excited to watch that. The progression in my acting career and writing career, and now our nonprofit that we are growing. I think people enjoy watching me as I continue to kind of, pave a path in life that is probably not the most normal path. And, and I try and do that with humility. I try and do it with God and family and country, like at the forefront of that idea, And so it's early on when I did social media, we were doing really funny skits and we were generating a lot of attention. And, that attention was really cool at first because it's like, it's attractive. You're like, oh man, this is addicting to get all this kind of attention for these silly videos. But eventually, if you don't realize that's just a character and then you're kind of like a character for other people, it started to feel like I was just a dancing monkey for people to throw money at. You know what I mean? And I didn't like that. Like they'd see me in public, they'd be like, "Oh, bro, say a funny joke," and you're like, "What the fuck, bro?" Like, I don't want to do that, you know. And so, you know, I didn't want to be a clown in a circus, dude. And so I kind of was really happy to transition out of that space and focus a lot more intentional content that is focused towards making an impact, right? So like I follow kind of three things in my life. It's inspire, entertain, and motivate. As long as those three are kind of in the space of what I'm doing, then I think it aligns with some of my values. And my values, like I said, are God, family, country. And so I'm not trying to take a big net and catch everyone in my social media. I'm just trying to find like-minded individuals who believe in what I do or you know, and kind of see things the same. And that's my demographic. And so my social media grows very slowly, but it's consistent. I don't pay attention too much to the growth because I think when you do that, you start to kind of change who you are by trying to draw attention. And so I just do things that I think are important, cool, or fun. And if I film it and highlight it, I'll post it. If I don't film it, oh well. And that's just kind of how my social media has grown. Like TikTok grew a lot because I was going to the border and filming what's happening on the border. You know, social media, like Instagram grew because I think more so my family than anything, watching my family grow as we all have kind of gotten older and kids accomplish different goals. Like Belle winning state, I think a lot of people watched Belle's wrestling journey since she was younger to the point where she was in high school. Winning state championship on her senior year was a big deal for me, but it was also for a lot of my supporters who've been watching her wrestle since she was in like ninth grade or eighth grade. And so watching her journey is part of like my following, and people just see the family kind of do its thing. And like I said, so it's grown because of consistency and I'm trying to really stay grounded in who I am. And I think that's who continue to follow me, the people who see that. So like if I was going to tell you, I'd say be real, be yourself, you know, don't create a character for people to follow because that becomes exhausting. As in you're not going to want to wake up every day and portray some character that's just a skit for other people to laugh at. And I say that because your goal is not to be a comedian. Your goal is not to be an entertainer. Your goal is to inspire. Your goal is to make an impact socially in your communities. And so, in my opinion, I think you should represent that through social media and showing how you're making impacts or how you're attempting to make impacts in your community by highlighting, say you're going to go teach a class to, you know, underprivileged kids in the neighborhood that you grew up in, boom. And film yourself teaching those classes, or make classes that are for free on your social media for kids to understand finances and be like, hey, if you're 16 right now, you can open a bank, blah, 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 blah. But when you start creating content that is honest to your branding, if you let me use that term, that's honest to what you're set out to try and your purpose, then I believe it's going to gain traction no matter what. And don't pay attention to the numbers. If you just impact one person's life, that's more than enough, you know? And so just create whatever you want to create and give to the world, and then post it and forget about it and go create something new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was helpful, man. I appreciate it. So I have a question for you. So, like as a child, not as a child, but coming up, were you like I tend to see this in myself. Like I tend not to like ask for like help. You know what I'm saying? Like I tend to like soldier through everything alone, and you know what I'm saying? Like, were you one of the guys that actually like was like okay with asking for help, or did you feel like you had to like be independent with things?
Yeah, I don't think, you know, even though I work in the mental health space now, and I work with a lot of veterans, it's still very hard for me to admit that I'm struggling with something, you know? I've been very fortunate to have my significant other who knows me, who understands me, who can read me really well. And she usually picks up on when I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed or struggling. It's probably been something in the past 2-3 years I've been getting better at. I have a men's group. You're more than welcome to join us tonight if you want to sit in a men's group. Yeah, it's from 8. It's 8 p.m. Central Time, and we it's a men's group who all of us go through and talk about life, man. And so there's usually a specific topic, and so that men's group has been very valuable to me to be able to express myself to a common group. I couldn't do that at any bar or any random group of friends because some of my friends would be like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know? So right. So I found a very good group that's healthy and I feel safe in expressing like when I struggle or what it is I struggle with. And the cool thing about this group and what I would tell you is this group is good about pushing each other to say, I acknowledge what you're struggling with. How do we make steps to improve that? You know what I mean? And so we don't allow you to linger in your sadness. More so, let's take action and how can we improve that? You know, and that's important. When veterans get out of the military, they tend to find the same echo chamber of dudes who struggle and who are just like, oh, I miss the military in that world, and it becomes a very unhealthy circle. You know, and I'm sure you and your friend groups. There's certain groups that like to party and drink that are probably not most conducive to getting good grades in school and education or work, right? And so, those groups are cool for certain things, but they're not cool for like being serious about the future. And then your group of friends who are about the future, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to grow with this group because this puts me in a better position. Not all of us at your age can make that choice. I couldn't, so I commend you for being, more mature than a lot of us. But that's what I would say is I found a group that I'm comfortable with and I can be open, but for the most part of my life, I couldn't. Even now, if I'm struggling, I can go through my phone and scroll through my dad, my brother, and still not feel comfortable calling them, saying I'm struggling. So it's something that us men have to get better at. But I really believe it comes down to the circle that you surround yourself with. It would really help with that.
And also I am interested in that group. You could text me.
You're more than welcome to.
But like based off what you're saying, it's like that's another thing that I struggle like with nowadays because like I get it back in the day, your generation, you know what I'm saying? You had people that was out on party, but like now it's like we have that, and then do you know what FOMO is?
Yeah, fear of missing out.
Yeah, so like now you have that, and you have people on social media with FOMO, and so it's like nowadays, just the whole my whole generation is just like I'm scared for us, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, shit, Belle. Belle's my daughter, right? Belle's one of the fortunate ones who can party hard and get good grades in school. She's one of those who can figure it out. She enjoys her time with her friends. But she's able to balance that with getting her education done. She's going to be going to law school next year, blah, 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 right? Like, so she's very fortunate to be in that position, mentally mature enough to manage that. But not everyone is. And I try and tell them, look, now, if things were different, we wouldn't even be talking, because if I did the right thing when I was 20 years old, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be playing professional baseball or retired from professional baseball. I never would have had more kids. It would have been a whole different conversation. So I'm blessed for my life and the path that I've lived. But yeah, you guys have to deal with social media and the pressures of that on top of like social pressures that you have daily anyways. And it's like 10 times as hard than what we had to deal with. And then as well as on social media, you see people who are rolling in fucking Rolexes and Lamborghinis, and that pressure of like, I want to be that successful. How do I do that? And that's what draws people to kind of chase something that, like I say, the term I use is sell their soul. You know what I mean? Because they lose who they lose their dignity, their morals and values, just to try and portray something that they saw on their social media.
Right. Yeah, man, it's bad. I have another question for you though.
Go for it.
All right. So if you were 22 again, right? Because I'm a big look. One thing about me, I'm gonna ask questions.
Yeah.
Like I believe God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. All right. So if you were 22 again, what are some things that you wish someone that's your age now would have told you then?
I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I was a smart person because I had trouble reading. I didn't read well. I graduated high school at a 5th grade reading level. And so I wish someone would have been able to say something that gave me the confidence to believe in myself that I can get my education done, right? My schooling. I went to college for 4 years and I never got a degree because I got kicked out my last year. I didn't get a degree until 2 years ago as my first bachelor's, and I'm about to finish up 2 different colleges right now with 2 different master's degrees, one in psychology and one in journalism. But like, thank you. But like, if I would have believed in myself when I was younger, I would have attempted to do more with that. I just didn't believe myself. I thought of myself as a loser who couldn't read. And so that kind of carried with me. Well, then I might as well be the funny guy who drinks beer at the parties. Let's go. And I leaned into that because I was too afraid and too insecure of what I really was someone who needed to learn how to read better, who could do it, but just was afraid to ask for help. And so I turned into the funny, popular kid who made good jokes and was at every party, dude.
Yeah. Anything else you wish somebody would have told you?
Dude, I do wish I learned financial literacy at a younger age. That would have been really cool. I never even thought about it. I joined the military, still didn't think about it. The military has a TSP program. I didn't even put money into it because I didn't even know what the hell that was. And so there's a lot of things in my life where the finances was something I wish I learned early. Absolutely.
What's going on, y'all? Thank you for joining our show. Thank you for supporting it throughout the years. Thank you for telling your friends about it. Real quick, let me get to our sponsors. Core Medical Group, you already know. Testosterone replacement therapy. If you guys are above the age of 25 and not feeling yourself, if your wife isn't feeling the same either, yeah, it's for both. You guys can go get your blood work done at Core Medical Group. There's a lot of questions about having babies. There's a protocol for that. You can still have kids while being on TRT. I got a ton of fucking kids. But you guys go check them out. I love them. I trust them. I think you guys will love them as well. Straight Razors on IG. Do you know what that is? GrimBlades.com. American made right there in Idaho. You guys should go check them out. It's a straight razor company. They make several different kinds of razors, not just straight razors, but they're known for the straight razors. I love them. The owner's an incredible person, a great American patriot, and so obviously I support them. You guys go check out Straight Razors on IG or GrimBlades.com. Scallywag Tactical, some custom knives. Several of you have bought the dagger. I love it. I think a lot of you will love it. Get it for your wives. She could take it while she's going walking with the dogs or whatever. Scallywag Tactical is an incredible company. Again, it's just another company that I support heavily. They've been good to me. I'm good to them. So you guys go check them out. Modern Gun School. You guys have your veteran benefits still. If you're a veteran, you still have them. Go use it. Modern Gun School is for you. Learn how to be an armorer at the comfort of your own home. Learn how to make, more so fix, clean, and just be an expert and armor in your own home. You can't beat that. Go check them out. Modern Gun School. Just Meats. I'm trying this carnivore thing for a little while. I've been losing a little bit of weight and it feels great. Just Meats makes it easy. You guys can get Just Meats order. I got the links in my bio. It has meat that's already pre-cooked. All you have to do is heat it up. I get a lot of them sent to me, so I go ahead and throw them in the freezer. I defrost them. Boom, there's dinner, there's lunch. You guys will love Just Meats. Go check them out. Like I said, my link is in my bio, and all the links that we have, you guys can find all of our sponsors. United Patriot Coins. That's a little bit of a change for us, but we committed to this company and we love them. They've been taking care of us, and so we're going to start taking care of them. They're a very patriotic company. I love coins. I love silver. I love precious metals. So we just signed a partnership deal with them, and as well as United Patriot Supply is more than just a firearms dealer. They embody the spirit of tradition, showcasing expertise and igniting the passion amongst outdoor enthusiasts across the USA. I highly recommend this company. You guys go check them out at UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Those are our sponsors. I really appreciate you guys supporting this show, supporting everything I do. Don't forget Borderline book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes. Got some cool stuff coming up with Henry Rifles. I think you guys will love. Light Diffuser Treat is coming around the corner. If you guys are looking for a men's wellness group, go check them out. And Tomorrow Battalion, if you're looking for a place to donate, a nonprofit that you can trust, Tomorrow Battalion is where it's at. We support veterans and first responders and their families. So you guys have any questions, you guys hit me up. Thank you for everything.
I recently, I used to be, I'm probably one of the hardest working people that I know right now. And I literally, this summer, I was working 81 hours a week, literally.
Damn.
And I was for some reason, I thought, I was why am I working for money? Why can't I make the money work for me? I already had, I'd never ever wanted to work for someone. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I was in 5th, 6th grade, I had my cutting grass business, snow removing business. And then when I was in high school and I was in boarding school, I needed to make a way to do laundry. I'm not proud of it, but I had a business because we had a lot of rich people. It was like an international school. So we had a lot of people from Asia, Africa. Everybody just came for money except me. You know what I'm saying? So I had washed people clothes, man. Washed people clothes for money. Bought me a pair of clippers. Was doing haircuts in there for money. That was high school. And then around my sophomore year or freshman year, I recently opened up an LLC for real estate. So once this business take off like how it's supposed to be, then I'm investing in a property. I'm looking to get a property to buy a house around here. Me and one of my coworkers are looking to like buy a house around here after this lease up. So like in June or August, and then I have this business right now that should just go into full effect. Like people actually sleep on this job. Like being a financial advisor is a sleeper. It's a sleeper. Like my hours are flexible. Like, yeah, it's word of mouth, like, but clients getting like building a base isn't hard. You know what I'm saying? And I just was granted the opportunity. I got invited to Indianapolis this past weekend, and I got to like learn like how to grow my business from like some people that's making like 700 grand a year.
Nice.
So it's like, it is a sleeper. So I will say I do love what I do now. Sorry for going on like a little tangent, but
no, you're allowed to. That's good.
It's nice. So what were the business? That's another question I want to ask. You say you had businesses. What were the business? I know you had the t-shirt one. You were selling shirts.
Yeah. So I had a t-shirt company when I was 18. And then when I was in, 2013, we had another t-shirt company that was a multi-million-dollar t-shirt company. Made $1.5 million the first year and $2.5 the second year. From there, we bought a whiskey company, and then I got into a cigar company, and so we managed those for a while. And then I owned a barbershop at one point, and so I tried my hand at all of them, and eventually it just wasn't my passion, man. I didn't want to kind of sell products that I wasn't proud of. I'm sober now, 5 years, 6 months or something like that. I think it's 5 months, 5 years, 5 months. Thank you. The t-shirt company kind of went up and down, and eventually it just wasn't profitable for me anymore. So I had to walk away from that. The whiskey company, I don't drink, so I'm not going to continue to promote whiskey. And the cigar company, eventually I sold my shares because, again, I just didn't have the time to kind of invest into it. And so I sold my portion of it back to the company. And so now I currently own a multimedia company, podcasting and whatnot, videography. I own Veteran, which is a t-shirt brand, but it's kind of more than that. And so it's still on I'm revamping a lot of things on that. And then we own Light the Fuse, which is the men's wellness kind of community that we created. We do retreats and whatnot. And then I have a nonprofit, and the nonprofit is really what fills my cup, is I'm able to support veterans and first responders and their families who have gone through any kind of struggle, dealing with any kind of trauma. So now I'm investing my time into things that I'm very passionate about, that I don't feel like it's work. It's just trying to create a space that creates an impact, like you said. And so now I only kind of invest in things when it comes to like time, my time towards things that like I said, I'm invested into by the fact that I know it makes an impact. And so that's the only kind of business I want these days. I want nothing else. I don't want to sell by anything anymore that doesn't mean anything to me.
Right. So can you talk more about that multimedia company that you have? Yeah.
So this podcast essentially is produced by it, and as well as social media. We manage several companies' social medias, and so help them create the content, bring on the social media influencers to promote their product. We film it, we edit it, we essentially can host all social media platforms. So pretty much that, and then manage several other podcasts out there in the world. So people that need it. So my team will go show them what process to use, set it up, and then as well as if they need to, then we'll do all the editing and posting and everything on their social media.
So have you guys found like the short niche videos are the most popular, or do they like the long videos?
Yeah, no, the short ones draw the traffic, definitely, right? So the longer form videos will get you to monetize more, will make more money for you, right? The long time people watch, then there's monetization based on kind of the ads that are kind of shared throughout your video. But the short ones are really what draw people into the long form. So those short kind of burst of reels that you see on Instagram, those are the ones you watch, those like quick inspirational, like, ooh, that was a good quote, let me share it to my friends. Those are the kind of ones that end up doing really well for driving traffic. And so we try and create a lot of those as well. So like for our episode here, there's going to be like 5 or 6 of them that I'll be able to send you and you can share into your social media.
I'll say less. I got you. All right. So with me, like knowing that I'm going to pursue like a educational, reels, TikTok, like social media platform. So how do you think I should how do you think I should format my videos?
Man, I think you're gonna live in this real space and short bursts of information that are valuable. I think you need to lean into you as the person, right? You like show your personality, show your love for it and why, right? And then you're gonna be able to give them the information. So, like if it's me and I'm talking about baseball, I'll use my look, I played 20-something years of baseball my whole life. I understand it very well. This is reasons why I like to teach it. And so that's kind of what you'd be doing, like, hey, here's where I grew up. Here's where I'm at now. Here's what I want to teach you. If you save money this way, you can save 10% more. And in 20 years, you'll have this much in your account, right? Whatever that is in your space, that's like good data and good information. Create reels that show that you're the expert of your field. You're the expert in your space, but also why people want to listen to you than anyone else. Well, you're relatable to kids who grew up in your area or whatever it is, right? And so relatability, make sure that you create something that shows the truth of who you are and why you're relatable to them, and be the expert in your field. Like, be the expert. If that's your fucking place, own that motherfucking place. That's yours. Yeah. And so everything you create, man, be the expert in your room. Like, own it.
Dang, that's actually, I appreciate it, man. That's some knowledge right there, man. You went there, you a professional. I can see you the expert in this room, man. I see it. You got it. You do this. Shoot. Dang. But
well, for so long, I didn't want to admit that I was the expert in my own space, right? And so when I leaned into the border conversation, now I have one of the biggest podcasts in the world that talks about the border, and I have a book that talks about the border, and I'm considered a border expert. And so I get calls from Fox and everyone else to talk about the border crisis because I owned the space that I knew that I understood. I understood that place real well. And in the veteran and first responder space of mental health and wellness, people call me all the time. They say, hey, I got a friend that's hurting. Can you help? Yeah, that's what I do. So I became I owned the space that I know that I knew better than most. And so that's what I market for myself.
Dang, man, I ain't gonna lie, that's cool, man. What you do is cool. That's cool. So with that being said, like with all of the podcasts and like everything you manage, like who is like the most person that you were like not most excited because like who were you the most happy to work with?
I like to hear like success stories. Like, so this podcast here, the VinnyRoc podcast, right? This is really focused towards positive messages, education, and people who have success stories. Like I like interviewing you because you're someone who's young but also motivated, which there's not a lot of people your age that are kind of asking questions like you are. But this podcast, I like to interview people that have positive messages because the viewers, I want them listening to it and gaining something from it, right? Improvement. It's like self-improvement, inspiration, motivation, something from that where they can be like, man, that was a good episode. I learned a lot about myself, or they learned a lot about this person that inspires them. And so that's what I try and have people on here that are inspirational. Now, I interviewed Bella, and it's one of my best podcasts. Why? Because they saw a very human person. They saw me talking to my daughter and having a conversation that was deep. Most dads don't get a chance to talk to their daughter in a very deep kind of space like that. It's just different these days. Some people don't have that. And so for us to have that conversation, people really enjoyed it because they saw the human version of me that was just right there with my daughter. And that's what I create here. So I'll interview anyone that has a cool story that is inspirational or that has a lot of questions. And if I can guide them, I will. I know that I have a very eclectic life, right? I've done a bunch of crazy shit in my life. So with all that means I have a lot of experience. And so I've kind of seen a lot. And so I feel like I have a lot of answers to a lot, or at least what has helped me. And so I try and give back to that.
Yeah. Okay. So who's like the most interesting person that you ever met?
Oof. Interesting person I've ever met. That's a good question. There's an actor that I always look up to. His name is Emilio Rivera. He's from Sons of Anarchy originally. Then he went up to Mayans. And when I reached out to him years ago when I wanted to be an actor, and he said, "Do it, homeboy, do it," right? And eventually we connected. And he became a mentor of mine. But knowing where he came from in this kind of gang world, heavy into drugs, becoming sober, finding a lifestyle in acting, changing his life around, and just living kind of the Hollywood dream is like, I think that's just like the coolest like story that you can see in America, right? Is these going from gang, and I grew up in the gang world, not saying me, but I'm saying I saw it all firsthand in where I live, just like you have in Chicago, right? I have friends who've been killed with gang violence, I have friends that are in prison for life, and so seeing someone like him go from the gang life, go for the drug life, be completely sober, change everything, and then have a very successful life. To me, his story is one of my favorites. And also that I've become really close friends with him, where I consider him like a second dad. Well, that now is like, it's even closer to home. And so he's a really interesting person, but also a big heart and just a beautiful soul. And so I'm just honored that he has become a friend of mine and someone that I've been able to kind of interview as well.
Dang, that's what's up. So you would say like mentorship in like any point in someone's life, like especially a young man's life, it's necessary.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the problems we have these days is the lack of fathers in child's lives, right? The lack of a male figure in men's life has been a big struggle. A lot of the men in my men's group can almost contribute a lot of their struggle because they didn't have a father figure guiding them. Look, like, the concept of a mother raising a son, a mother will always have love for her son, but the mother's also going to kind of doesn't know how to be masculine. You know what I mean? Doesn't know what a man actually struggles with. She can only kind of do the best she can with what she knows, but it takes a man to raise a man. And in this current society, men are almost attacked for being men. And so it's a really crazy time where, I think it's really important for having men be able to mentor other men and help them in the crazy world we live in right now, where because I have tattoos, I'm probably considered, toxic masculinity, whatever the fuck, right? You know what I mean? And so I'm still raising sons that have to face the world, that have to put the freaking pressure of the world on their back. They have to make sure they find a way to make a living. They have to defend their kids. They have to defend their spouse. It's this really interesting world that I think for a long time, kids who weren't fortunate enough to have men in their lives have struggled mentally and emotionally with what that means, what's the right way to do it. I have a lot of dads who reach out to me who have sons who didn't have a dad and be like, man, I don't know how to do this. And for me, it's like, yeah, you do. It's instinctual. You protect that kid. You teach him how to be a man. You teach him how to protect the others. You teach him how to just live a life with morals and values. And I think that's a very important thing that we all, if you don't, my father's a good mentor, but he wasn't a man of many words. He was more of a man of action. And nowadays, we get to have really good conversations because, I can talk to my dad like he's a friend now. We can go back and forth. And I think that's beautiful. But like in this men's group, I've noticed how much we need each other, how much us men need each other to mentor each other, to kind of guide each other and to kind of be there, almost a sounding board for each other.
And I think that's big because I think one of the things that women don't understand that is that men really don't have anyone. We're alone. You know what I'm saying? Women talk bad about us. You know what I'm saying? We can't go to our own brothers because we out here shooting and killing each other and it's always a problem. And at the end of the day, we really only got ourselves. So it's like, as a man or as like a minority at all, it's like people often overlook how hard it is and they just don't see it at all.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, man. Like, if I struggle with this in my own life, thinking like, should I complain or do I just keep fucking going? You know what I mean? And if I complain, am I being weak? if I complain about like how hard it is and how much the pressure I have, the social pressure just to be a good man is hard. And not saying it's hard to be a good man. I'm saying the social pressure of everyone's watching every move, hoping you fuck it up, right? And as well as like, are you able to support your family? Are you able to love your wife? Are you able to be a good father to your kids and not make any mistakes without judgment? Because the world judges everything we do in raising kids. But like all the social pressure, it gets heavy. And in my life, I've learned, or I've noticed that I've kind of shied away from groups where I become more happier alone. And that's not healthy either. Happier alone because like, I don't want to be the one to complain to you about my fucking shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to you and be like, oh, bro, paying the bills, work, this many hours, blah, my weight, my food, my this, my that, all these things that are in my head. Like if I spill those onto you, like what's that going to do? I look like a complaining bitch. It's how I see, you know, and I don't want to be that, you know? And so it gets almost lonelier the older you get because you don't want to keep complaining. And then the other side of me goes, shut up and keep going. Shut up and keep going. And it's like, what's the healthiest version of that? I can keep going for how long until it finally breaks me? Or is there some kind of relief for myself mentally that I can find in this journey of life? And so that's why I've leaned into a lot of the wellness space and trying to find relief in some of these questions and some of the pressure that we feel. And it's people don't get it. And I don't know how to put it to words, but like when I tell you I feel pressure at times at night, it's hard to breathe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a tough one.
So how do you feel about, so like right now in this day and age, it's like now women are, you know, saying that, oh, men need to open up more, like, oh, but then we also have like men saying like, oh, like we can't open up because it's not a safe space to open up. And if we open up to you, you know what I'm saying? When shit hit the fan, everything I've vented to you about comes right back in my face. So like, that's
a hard one, man. So there's things I've told my wife that I would have never trusted in anyone else's hands. And it took years for me to tell my wife because I had to wait and see, like, do I know if I give her this information, will she use it against me? You know what I'm saying? In the sense of childhood trauma, in the sense of just, I can talk, like, I'm very fortunate to have a wife that I feel 100% confident she would not use any of these insecurities, any of these thoughts, or any of these life experiences that are just terrible against me, ever. I can't promise that for anyone else in my life I've ever been with. And I say that as like, if I would have trusted them, they would have destroyed me. They would have crippled me and just broke me as a man. And so I don't know the answer to that. You have to take every relationship that you have and you have to determine, like, you have to give there a grace period of really trying to know who they are. Because the first part of every relationship is like perfect. Like, it's all great, right? But once you get through the hard shit, and then you'll know right away, like, I can't trust them with shit because they'll use it against me. You know what I mean? And that's hard, bro. You know, that's a bad relationship if you're scared to open up to someone about your hardships, feeling a type of way. And if you can't trust a woman with that, that's not the woman you should be with, because there's still great women in this world. There's still great women in this world. But because of the way the world's gone, there's a lot of women here that are just looking to just beat a man down. And, you know, you have to find a way to identify those and avoid them.
It's hard to identify which lion is going to strike when he walking right beside other lions. You know what I'm saying? Like, normally, you know, back in your day, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, for one, I'm not misogynistic at all. Like, my mama raised a fine young man and I support women, but like back then, like, women used to dress totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like you had the ones that were, you know, living life. I'm just gonna say you had the ones living life. Then you had the ones that was more, you know, kept up, settled back. You know,
little modest, little more modest.
Yeah, and so now nowadays in this culture, everyone is dressed the same, but you don't know which one has which motive. It's hard to it's like a whole bunch of lions and they all walking towards you. You just don't know which one is gonna strike. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So it's
I know
it's
exactly
hard
what you're
to
saying.
differentiate, It's hard.
It is, man, but like, are you a man of God?
Of course.
Well, I think, your answer's there, right?
Yeah.
I think your answer's there. Like, it would be hard for me, the way I see the world and the type of woman I wanted to marry, I wasn't going to meet her at the Hooters because that wasn't what I felt was within the boundaries of morals and values and someone I see raising my kids. Nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with Hooters. I love the freaking wings, right? I used to love the beer, but for me, it was hard. And that's it's just the truth. It was hard for me to justify like this person would raise my kids. Now, there's great women that come out of Hooters who just needed a job and did it, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. But for me, in my position, and when I was in the space of looking for the wife that's going to raise my kids, that wasn't the place I went looking. You know what I'm saying? It just personally wasn't, right? I could have gone to church. I could have gone to, social circles that were probably running groups or fitness groups or things like that, but that were more like-minded in what I do. But I wasn't searching for my wife when I was looking, when I was single and looking for who would I want to bring into my life with my 4 kids, right? Because I don't know if Belle told you, I was raising 4 kids alone at one point, right? And so I wasn't going there to look for a wife. You know what I mean? I was going there to look for wings and beard. You know what I mean? Where I was looking for a wife was like through friend groups. Hey, do you know someone that's a good lady who's interested in, going on a date? And fortunately, I met my wife through a kind of a circle of friends. But like, that's how that goes, is you're going to have to find someone who you feel suitable to, to hold your hand, bro. Is going to be in a places where you are searching for someone that has morals and values that align with yours. That might be church groups. That might be social circles that kind of you identify with that are maybe doing outreach for the community. That's where you try and find, but even in that, man, I mean, we've all been burned plenty of times, bro. Yeah, it's the hardest thing for men. So one of the biggest calls I get is men who go through divorce because the woman's unhappy or the woman cheated on them, whatever the case. Not saying it doesn't go the other way. It does, but I'm a guy. People call me as guys, and the guys call me to kind of vent their life. And man, it's a hardest one is for men to try and find a significant other that they can feel safe with. That's hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. And so now some of us men, we're not good at having relationships either. I know for a long time, I think I was hard to love. You know what I mean? In the sense where I wasn't willing to give people much because I was so broken inside. And so part of the issues I dealt with in relationships was partly because I was fucking broken myself. You know what I'm saying? But in this relationship I have now, we've been married 8 years and we have a very healthy relationship. And, we work on it constantly, continue to work on communication like this. But I feel safe that I can tell her some of the hardest things that I have to tell her, and she's never going to judge me, question me, or use it against me. And man, that's a fucking superpower to have, dude, to know that I have that. And maybe I'm just, by the grace of God, I'm lucky, bro, but I don't know how, but I know I have someone that does it, that wouldn't do that to me. And I wouldn't do that to her. So that's a hard one, bro. That's a hard one.
So you would say, what do you think are like the foundations of a strong relationship? It don't have to be any relationship like husband and wife. I'm just saying like any relationship. What are like the foundation of any relationship?
Trust and communication, man. So I have a business partner. He owns 15% of all my companies. It took a lot of trust for me to give him that, but I believe in him. I trust him, and we have good communication. And even when we don't see things eye to eye, because we're two different people and who kind of see the world different, I just said, hey, bro, this is bothering me. We got to figure this out. I'm not a fan of this. And then he'll be like, hey, I saw it differently. My bad. Boom, boom, boom. And we go back and forth. And I'll be like, hey, that was my fault. I saw it wrong. Glad we could communicate it. And so we get through the conversations. We get through the bumps in the road in the business by having clear communication, man. and trust that every intention I make is not malice. I
Right.
make mistakes, but it's not malice, right? It wasn't bad intentions. It was trying to make good choices, and they just turned out to be shit choices, you know?
Right.
And same in my relationship with my wife. It's no different. It's like you make the best choices possible for the family, and sometimes it's, you know, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And you got to communicate like, hey, she knows there is no ill intent, no malice in my actions. It's just sometimes my actions are fucking opposite of what she thinks is the right choice. And so we have to communicate. They're like, yo, my bad. Didn't mean that. And
Right.
I don't take jabs at her, and she doesn't take jabs at me. When I say that, it's like, we don't attack each other with insecurity by trying to put a person down. We don't put each other down. And I've been in relationships where just people use that in a way to just kind of like, instead of saying the big monkey on the back that's bothering them, they just use little fucking comments that fucking jab at you. Yeah, that doesn't happen. That don't happen here, because that builds resentment. You know what I mean? That almost builds an enemy. Like, what are you going to say next to try and fucking hurt me? Like, that's not a good feeling. So in both of my relationships, my business partner, my significant other, you know, we have good communication. We have good trust, that we have good intentions and choices we make. And that's a really good feeling.
So I got a question. All right. So let's just say I wanted you, obviously, through this conversation, I felt like you got a lot of jewels. Like we kind of similar. What if I asked you to be one of my mentors through my life?
Absolutely.
Would you be open to help me also with my upbringing in this business? Not financially, just like, hey, you should do this, or hey, like that's bullshit. Take it
Tyler,
down.
whatever you need.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you need, Tyler. You got my number. You can call me and text me anytime. If you ask me to look at your social media, what I think, if you want an idea on how you can build, whatever you need, man, you got me. It's too easy.
Appreciate it. You're the best, man.
For as long as you need me.
And I first, I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if she told you this, but Matt bailed through Star.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So Star always worked. She worked at B-Dubs. She still work at B-Dubs, and like I always used to. Well, I'm not gonna say that on there, but you know, have him at his house. I used to let her come into the library. I work at a bar, so I used to let her come to the library. And do you know the library bar?
No.
So it's a bar right next to B-Dubs. I always let her come through, and then one day she brought Star, and then Star. One day she brought Bale, and then we talked, and then Bale got the job at the library. So now Bale works with me, and Star works literally like one walking distance down.
Yeah.
So now I just be like, yesterday I literally was over Star's apartment. We were just doing homework, and then she turned on a little Victoria's Secret model thing.
The show that was on, yeah.
Yeah, and I had to go because all I hear is, oh my gosh, like, oh, Slay, like, so I was like, nah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, literally. I'm
trying to get Star on here.
Yeah, she told me. She said she had like 4 hours worth of calls for her dial. I was like, golly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get Star. I'm gonna get Bell on here again, and then I'm trying to get Star on here. But Star's a little more nervous about the camera.
Seriously?
Yeah, we did a filming one time. I was doing a cooking show, and she cried. She was crying. It said action, and she just started crying. I was like, oh my God, it looks like I abused my kids. But we'll get her on here.
And also, I want to come back in a couple of months. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? After being a little bit more in the business to give you an update. And I don't know if you're based or have interest in me, but you know what I'm saying? Give them a little update how the business is going and stuff too, you know?
Yeah. Do you have a social media or a website right now that you want to plug?
Yeah. I have my main one. I'm going to start a second one, but my main one is literally just TL Tyler Hampton. That's my main IG right now. I'm starting a TikTok, my TikTok and my Instagram, like a whole separate account later. Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll make sure we plug it for you.
All right, bet, man. I appreciate the opportunity being on here, man. It was fun. I learned a lot. I appreciate you for actually like caring about me, even though you didn't even know me, and like giving me the jewels and stuff. You don't know. It means a lot. I do appreciate
thank
it. You look just like Bale. You look just like you look, I mean, spinning image of Bale. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. She's not gonna like hearing that. Just saying.
He's not. Shut the fuck up.
Well, Tyler, it's refreshing to see someone as young as you that takes their life seriously and is wanting to inspire, motivate others, and wants to make an impact. It's probably counter to what most people think our youth are trying to do. So I'm sure the audience is going to be honored to see and hear someone like you wanting to do good in the world.
I hope so, man. I hope so. It's only good intent, you know. I'm God's vessel. Whatever you need me to do, I'm there. I'm doing it. Just like that.
Good. Thank you, brother.